upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos. I'm an agent of chaos. Oh, and you know the thing about chaos? It's fair.
What up, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Mars Sharp, Short Man Filmworks in the building. And we have another episode of the Everyday Man's Film Reviews for you guys tonight. As y'all know, I'm still going through my Batman movies and I'm getting through them. And I'm getting through them as time allows me to get to them because I'm living life. You know what I mean? So today we're going to go over the second movie in the Christopher Nolan trilogy of the Batman series, which is called just simply The Dark Knight. The last one was Batman Begins. This one is just simply called The Dark Knight. And this one came out in 2008. I'm about to say 2012. I'm thinking of the last one. This one came out in 2008, and this particular version of Christopher Nolan's movie, I'm trying to remember if it had a lot of buzz behind it, but I'm thinking about more of the buzz because I had a couple. Well, it was a dude that I worked with. His name was D, and we was talking. Me and him were we were movie fiends and movie fanatics, and we was talking about this movie about how good it was gonna be, and we was talking about Batman Begins, and when this one was coming out, you know what I mean. Pretty much a lot of people was excited. I know I was excited, and he was excited too. But we was excited because they had a new rendition of the Joker, so we wanted to see how this was going to work out. And you had Heath Ledger playing the Joker, which Heath Ledger was known for being a great actor before this movie. You know what I mean? But when it was coming out, man, we was kind of just amped up because we wanted to know what was, how this movie was going to turn out. You know what I mean? So we get into the second installment of this movie, and going back to a lot of the previous things I was saying in my in my last review of Batman Begins, and I said it in the video that I wanted to see a little bit more and kind of just dig into it and see where a lot of these characters and where a lot of the storylines and where a lot of the realism of the movie was going. You know what I mean? And I can truly say that this movie is basically engrossed in a lot of realism. You don't get that fantasy kind of feel that you got from the TV show and what you got from the Tim Burton movies, especially Batman Returns and the other Batman movies that came out. To me, the closest movies that came to this was 1989's Batman, and as I told y'all before, that's going to always be my favorite Batman movie. But that Batman, in that fantasy kind of aspect, that Batman came close to this one because this one is really engrossed in realism. It really is. Like, you kind of forget that it's a Batman movie until you realize Batman is running around in this movie. You know what I mean? So let's get into it. So we start off with the movie, and you see that Batman, he's now in a penthouse now because Wayne Manor burnt down in the first movie. So now he has to take all his operations to a penthouse, which leads to his Bat cave, so to say, which is, I'm guessing, it's kind of like just a empty floor inside of this high-rise building. You know what I mean? But it serves its purpose. And you can see from the movie, like, there are things that's changed. I don't know how much time has went on between Batman Begins and this one, but I want to kind of say that maybe a year or two has passed since Batman Begins, because you see that a lot of the criminals, they are now kind of in fear because they don't know exactly like what Batman is going to do, and he's created this lore. He's created this lore where, if you're a criminal, Batman is coming after your ass. And you see in the beginning of the movie, Scarecrow makes his appearance in the movie, but it's kind of like Scarecrow is he's trying to be that vigilante that Batman is doing, and you got a lot of other ones that are kind of being these Batman imposters. You know what I mean? Because you see he's kind of giving the citizens some hope. He's giving them some hope, whereas, okay, we don't have to stand for what we stood for before. You know what I mean? So you kind of see that in the beginning of the movie that happens. That happens. And one thing I like about the realism of this movie, which you don't really get too much in the other Batman movies, is the toll that is taken on his body. There's a scene where he's talking to Alfred, and he has his shirt off, and you can see the bruises and the marks and the scars that he's went through in being Batman. And you don't get none of that in the other Batman movies. You know what I mean? Where all of this stuff that he's doing is taking a physical toll on his body. And eventually you see that eventually it's gonna break him down. You know, it's gonna break him down. So I like the fact that well, I ain't gonna say they put that in there because it was directed by Christopher Nolan again. So I like the fact that Christopher Nolan put that element inside of the movie, that you can see that after a while that this is really gonna have an effect on Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? So once again, you know, you got Bruce Wayne living that double life. And as I said before, you know, I was comparing and I said I shouldn't compare it, but I was comparing Christian Bale's Batman to Michael Keaton, and I said, you know, to me it was something missing with him in Batman Begins, but in this one he kind of puts it together more. But I'll talk about that when I get to that segment of the video. But yeah, we get in, going along with the storyline of the movie. We see that, you know, Batman is doing his thing. He's still this vigilante in the film, and criminals are scared. Along comes the Joker, and along with the Joker in this movie, is very sinister, very just kind of like, he really doesn't give a damn about anything. He doesn't give a damn about anything that's going on. And he's very calculated in this movie. Joker is very, very, very calculated. He's not the TV's Joker, and he's not Jack Nicholson's Joker. He's a completely different breed of criminal. You know, man, he says it in the movie that, you know, he has a meeting with all the mobsters in the movie, and he's like, yo, you know, some time ago, you know, everybody would be afraid to touch you. Everybody would be afraid to touch you. You know, these lawyers, these politicians, these city officials would be afraid. You know, they'll you know, these criminals would have them in their pocket. But now everybody's running scared because of Batman. And Joker realizes that, to the point where he's like, okay, he wants to put that criminal fear and that criminal element back into Gotham City. He pretty much wants citizens to start fearing the criminals again. And with the type of criminal that he is, he's getting it done. He's getting it done in his own way. And I kind of feel like in this movie we get the genesis of Joker. Even though he was talked about in Batman Begins, we kind of get the beginnings of what he's plotting and what he's planning, which is fine, which is all fine and dandy, because I think that added a extra dynamic and an extra layer to the story of this Batman trilogy. And just the fact that Joker was as calculated. I mean, I watched it again, and I seen this particular one a lot. But in watching it again, and I think the reason why I'm watching it with different eyes now, and in watching it with different eyes, it was just, to me, it was just amazing how calculated Joker was. Like, he had a plan for everything. He had a plan for everything that was going on. Just when you think that the cops and Batman was ahead of him, he did something else. And then just when you think, okay, they finally got him, and they finally got him under wraps, he comes up with something else. So just how calculated he was, man. And I think that was, to me, I think that was just brilliant how that went along. You know what I mean? But in the midst of him going through this, and pretty much the entire movie, and I know other people probably get other things from this movie, but to me, the whole movie is about how calculated Joker is throughout this entire film. And yeah, we get we get the story with Batman, and you got Harvey Dent, who's actually introduced in this movie. And I like the take on Harvey Dent's character in this one too, because he's the DA. And in all the other movies, we don't really get too much of a backstory, or we don't really dig too much into Harvey Dent. You know what I mean? Harvey Dent was in the first movie, which was played by Billy Dee Williams. He was the DA. And I kind of feel like from the first movie, the mission that he does in this movie, they kind of intertwined, because he was the new DA in 89's Batman, and he was supposed to be the one that was going to kind of clean up that city. He was going to be the hero, the face, the hero to clean up Gotham City. And we kind of got lost, and then you had Batman Forever, and he was introduced to Batman Forever, but he was introduced immediately as Two-Face. And I don't even remember what the man MO was in that movie, because like I said, it's not my favorite Batman movie, so I don't even know what his MO in that movie was. But in this particular movie, you see that Harvey Dent is not afraid to go against all of these gangsters in this movie. You know what I mean? And as Batman says, like, he's the hero that Gotham needs. He's the face. Because everybody says, okay, well, Batman, he's the vigilante, and he's giving the city some hope that they don't have to live in fear no more. But as he said, you need a face. And he was like, well, Harvey Dent is that face. He's that hero that Gotham needs, and Gotham he's the hero that Gotham needs. He's the one that he needs. They don't need Batman. And pretty much, Batman is kind of like on this trip where he's like, all right, look, I'm looking to retire. He's kind of like, all right, look, I'm looking to retire. I want to just chill out and settle down. I kind of did my thing already. I'm going to let Harvey Dent take over and let him do it kind of in a legal fashion. Because, Batman is an outlaw. He's an outlaw. He's not doing it in a law, and like as a law-abiding citizen. He's taking the law into his own hands, which he had to do in the first movie. In this movie, it's kind of like he doesn't really have to do it. You know what I mean? And he's like, okay, well, I don't have to do this like this, so I'm gonna let Harvey Dent take over until Joker jumps in the game. And once Joker jumps in the game, it's kind of almost like you need an unconventional hero for an unconventional villain. Because Joker is that unconventional, no nonsense. I don't give a damn about anything that's going on. All I want to do is create chaos and create a whole bunch of bullshit, just to get everybody's feathers ruffled, just to ruffle everybody's feathers. And he, like I said, he does a good job at doing it. You know what I mean? So there's a whole lot of this. I don't want to say it's not a complicated movie, but there's a whole lot of underlying things underneath it if you watch it for what's going on. You know what I mean? Not hard, not complicated to get with, but you can get with all of these storylines are going. Because you got the storyline with Batman, you got the storyline with Batman and Rachel Dawes, where he's like, okay, and she's another reason why he wants to kind of hang up the suit, because he's like, okay, well, once I give this all up, I could go be with the girl that I love, not knowing. Well, he knows, because she's engaged to Harvey Dent, but he still has hope. He still has hope that, I could be with this woman if I hang up this cape. You know what I mean? And she knows the reality. She knows the reality, like, he's not going to ever hang up this cape, because this is who he is. Just like she said in the first movie, Bruce Wayne is the mask, and you're really Batman. This is who you are. And she knows for a fact that he's not going to hang it up. You know what I mean? And she even, she writes him a letter, which eventually he doesn't read. Alfred ends up reading it. And she eventually ends up telling him, look, I'm choosing Harvey Dent, because, this is a part of you that you would never ever, be able to hang up. You know what I mean? I mean, unfortunately, she kicks the bucket in the movie, unfortunately, which is another part of Joker's plans. And the thing about it is, I don't really want to give up a lot of it, and I can't imagine anybody who hasn't seen the movie. But if you haven't seen it, I'm really not trying to give up the movie. But she kicks the bucket, courtesy of Joker. But I kind of lost. I kind of lost my thought what I was talking about. But yeah, you know, he wants to. Batman wants to give up. Being Batman for Rachel Dawes, but she chooses Harvey Dent instead, and you know she writes him a letter which Bruce Wayne doesn't get the chance to read. Alfred reads it, and you know Bruce Wayne is at a point where once she kicks the bucket, he's like, she was gonna choose me. She was gonna choose me. He really still had that hope that she was gonna choose him. You know what I mean? So, with that going on, and then you got Harvey Dent and his mission and his crusade to, to clean up the city, and he eventually goes from hero to villain in his own right, because he's the type of man that kind of stands for righteousness at first, and then once he ends up becoming Two-Face, and he got a brief stint as Two-Face, and I be honest with you, I like that version of Two-Face because I like this version of Two-Face better than what Tommy Lee Jones did with Two-Face, because like I said, once again, it kind of became like these characters kind of became comedic and clownish in the other movies, but I'll get to that when I talk about the acting. But I like this version of Two-Face, even though he wasn't really on the screen for too long. But I did like this version of Two-Face. What other plot lines you got going on? What other things you got going on? You got Harvey Dent going on, and then you have Lieutenant Commissioner Gordon, who's actually lieutenant in this movie. But then, oh God, I feel like I'm giving up the movie, and I don't want to give up the movie. But he eventually ends up becoming Commissioner Gordon in this movie. You know what I mean? And he has his own agenda as well. He's got his own major crimes unit, because they at the point now where nobody in this city can be trusted now, and it's like, it's so sketchy, man. And like I said, watching this movie, man, it's like everybody in this movie was sketchy, man. Everybody in this movie was sketchy. Well, Jim Gordon wasn't sketchy, but it's like it's one of them things like, yo, who do you trust? This city is so corrupt. Who do you trust? You know what I mean? So you had that going on. Of course, you had the plot line with the Joker and what he's trying to do with the mob, because he has his own plans where he's setting up all the criminals, and he's setting up the mob. Yo, it's a lot going on in this movie, but it's very entertaining. It's very, very entertaining, man. If you sit down and watch this movie and see it for what it's for, like I said, I started watching this movie a couple of days ago, and I know it's a Batman movie, but I kind of forgot that it was a Batman movie until Batman showed up. You know what I mean? Because it's that realistic. You know what I mean? And I love that about this film. You know what I mean? So I don't want to give up too much more of the movie. And I know I'm jumping around and I'm really giving y'all bits and pieces of the plot. But like I said, for those who haven't seen the movie, I don't want to give up the movie. But let me go in and start breaking some of this stuff down. The acting, of course, you got A+ players in this movie as well. You got Christian Bale, and what I was saying earlier in the video, that this time around I feel like I got more from Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne, because in the first movie I just felt like something was missing, something wasn't there, and in this movie, what he did with Batman, he brought more of him out. And I guess that was part of the plan, I'm guessing, because it's 3 movies. So I guess he didn't really want to give up too much of his version of Bruce Wayne or his version of Batman. So in this one, he gives up more. He's more, I don't want to say he's more of a fleshed out character, because he is a fleshed out character in the first one. But this one, you get a little bit more into the mindset of Bruce Wayne. Or Batman, so to say. The only thing I couldn't stand with him being Batman is that damn voice that he put on. That Batman voice was the worst shit in the world. I mean, and I get it. It seems like everybody who plays Batman, they get a little bit of a deeper octave when they do Batman. But to me, I just feel like he just went overboard with that shit. Like, he went overboard with it, But otherwise than that, I think Christian Bale did a good job. He did a good job in the first movie, but this one I got more of his Bruce Wayne now. His Bruce Wayne is more of a millionaire. He's a playboy. He he plays that millionaire character, not in a snobbish type way, but he plays it more as a millionaire. You know what I mean? As I said with Michael Keaton, he played it more as he downplayed his millionaire status. With this one, he plays that millionaire. You know, he owns the business, and he has that duality of him being Bruce Wayne, the billionaire, and him being Batman. So in this one, I didn't feel no sense of something being missing. I felt like it was more. I got what I needed in this movie than that was missing in the first one, and I'm satisfied with that. I'm satisfied with the fact that I feel like the holes that I was missing in the first movie, I got them filled in this one, which I'm completely satisfied with that one. Michael Caine being Alfred again, and once again he still has that grandfatherish father type figure going on. Morgan Freeman here playing Lucius Fox, and he pretty much does the same thing that he did in the first movie. He's kind of like Batman's aide in him helping, you know, get his gadgets and get his electronics and get all the stuff he needs to be successful at being Batman. Aaron Eckhart, who plays Harvey Dent, and as I said, I liked this version of Harvey Dent because he goes from being the White Knight. He goes from being this White Knight, and then when he actually becomes Two-Face, he pretty much doesn't give a shit no more. He doesn't care. And like I said, it's not in that comedic tone. It's not in that comedic tone as it was in Batman Forever. It's more of a serious nature where he's like, look, man, I've been doing all of this stuff, and then the criminal still prevails. You know, he still gets over. He kills my girlfriend. You know, he puts me someplace where he's gonna kill me and burns half of my face off. So he's at that point now where he's like, I don't give a damn no more. You know, he's like, I don't care. You know, whatever happens, happens. And you see his transformation, but I kind of feel like I liked his version of Harvey Dent and Two-Face, but I kind of wish they would have gave him more. I wish he would have been in the second movie. I'm not the second movie. I'm sorry. I wish they would have kind of leaked him over into the third movie, but for reasons being, they didn't leak him over in the third movie. We'll talk about that when we talk about the third movie. But I guess for what the storyline was, Two-Face served his purpose because he was more Harvey Dent throughout the whole movie than Two-Face. Whereas, like in Batman Forever, he was like Harvey Dent for like 2 seconds, and then he just immediately was just Two-Face from the moment he got on the screen. You know what I mean? So, I like this version of Harvey Dent, Two-Face. I like this version of him. You know what I mean? And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't cartoonish. It was realistic. It was believable of why he would have this kind of don't give a damn attitude after, I don't want to say everything was taken away from him, but everything kind of was taken away from him, and he just doesn't care anymore, you know? So that's the take on Harvey Dent. Rachel Dawes, played by a different actress this time. It was done by Katie Holmes, and this time she's played by Maggie Gyllenhaal. Not a bad performance, but I kind of, I can't say I don't understand why she was in the movie, because she's kind of the catalyst that sets off Harvey Dent to be Two-Face, and she's also the reason why Bruce Wayne or Batman wants to hang up. Well, Bruce Wayne wants to hang up his cape. You know what I mean? Because she told him in the first movie, you give this up, we can be together. And it leaks over into this movie where, okay, I'm ready to give it up because, you know, now you got Gotham's White Knight, you got Harvey Dent, and now I'm ready to just hang up Batman so I can live a normal life. You know what I mean? So I see why she was there, but, you know, I don't know, man. I just kind of feel like, I don't want to say she was just kind of like just a character just to be here, but, you know, I don't know what to say about Rachel Dawes, man. And I'm not saying nothing about Maggie Gyllenhaal and her acting ability because she's a great actress. But I don't know. I just kind of felt like the character of Rachel Dawes was just kind of there. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna get to him. I'm just trying to go through everybody else. Gary Oldman is playing Jim Gordon again, and to me, I kind of feel like he kind of did the same thing. He's kind of like the same character he was in the first movie. He's that good cop. He's the one that's not corruptible. He's not the corruptible cop. He's not going to take a bribe. He's not going to take no dough. He's going to go by the book. And he's the good cop. And he's got a couple other of officers that's along with him and that's kind of running on the same line as him. Who else she had? Jim Gordon. I think that's it for all the other characters. Now, I gotta get to my man. Rest in peace. Rest in peace to Heath Ledger, who did a fucking awesome job. Oh my God. This man's version of the Joker? Woo! This man's version of the Joker. And I know people like to compare him to Jack Nicholson, but he's different. To me, there's no comparison. There's no comparison because he wasn't doing what Jack Nicholson did. Jack Nicholson was his own Joker for the 89 movie. And it worked. To me, it worked. In my opinion, it worked for the 1989 movie. This version of Joker worked. He wasn't a clown. He wasn't quirky. He wasn't no joke, man. This Joker wasn't no joke. Even though, like I said, in 89, he was a clown in 89, and Jack Nicholson played him to the T. Jack Nicholson did justice to Joker. But he was more of, and I'm not taking nothing away from Jack Nicholson, because I love Jack Nicholson's performance. Y'all seen my first video, and I praised Jack Nicholson for doing his thing. But Heath Ledger made his own Joker. Heath Ledger created his own lane with Joker. And just what they did with the character, like they didn't make him, he didn't go through no wild shit. He didn't fall in no toxic waste. He was just a psychotic motherfucker. Straight up. He was just psychotic. He had the scars in his by his mouth that formed the smile. And he pretty much painted over it and put the white paint on his face. Heath Ledger looked dirty as hell in this movie. He looked like a dirty criminal who he didn't take no bath. He just looked dirty as shit in this movie. But I think that added to him being who he was. This Joker, you looked at Jack Nicholson's Joker, he was clean. He was clean, he was smooth, he was clean and he was smooth. This Joker was just kind of he was dirty. His hair looked like it was unkept. Like he looked like he ain't washed his hair in 5 years. His suit was dirty. I mean, his hands was dirty. And you look at certain scenes, he got really long nails. So I'm like, yo, I don't know where they found them from, but I think that goes to what Heath Ledger did with the character. I'm pretty sure they gave him a blueprint and Heath Ledger just ran with that shit. You know what I mean? And he did an awesome job of what he did with his voice. He didn't give him like a deep voice. He almost gave him like an annoying kind of voice. Kind of almost gave him like a little bit of an annoying voice, but the voice made the character. You know what I mean? It made the character, and like I said, he was just cold and calculated. Just him just Joker as a character. He was just cold and he was just very calculated and very, Joker was playing chess in this movie. That motherfucker was playing chess throughout this whole movie, because it's like no matter what you did to him, you couldn't get over on him. You couldn't get him. You couldn't figure him out. Just when you think you got him, he shifts gears. Just when you think he's going left, he'll go right, and when you think he's going right, he'll go left. You know what I mean? But Heath Ledger did a bang up job, man. It's unfortunate that he died after this movie. I think he died after they filmed this movie. It's unfortunate that he died. And I really wish that he would have been here to do more. You know what I mean? Because Heath Ledger is a phenomenal actor. You know what I mean? When he did Brokeback, he did Brokeback Mountain, and he became that cowboy. You know what I mean? And in this movie, he became the Joker. You know what I mean? He created his own lane. I think Heath Ledger set the bar so damn high to be Joker. Oh man, and you got so many different variations. You got Cesar Romero's version of the Joker. You got Jack Nicholson's version of the Joker. You got Heath Ledger's version of the Joker. Jared Leto, who he was Joker in what movie was it? Suicide Squad. He was Joker for like 5 minutes, but he was more of that I don't know. He more of that cartoon version. He had his own little take, which it was okay. But and then you had Joaquin Phoenix's version of the Joker, which is completely different. You know what I mean? He had a different take. But if I had to put a Joker on the top list, oh man, that's hard, man. That's hard. I don't know if I put Heath Ledger up there first or Jack Nicholson first, or do I put Heath Ledger first and then Joaquin Phoenix and then Jack Nicholson? I don't know, man. The order is crazy. The order of Jokers is crazy. But Heath Ledger did his thing, man, being this character. Like I said, it's unfortunate that he passed away after this film, because I would have loved to see him in other films. But he did his thing, and he's if you had to go out with a role, he did his damn thing with that role. So kudos to Heath Ledger for creating kudos to Heath Ledger for taking an iconic character and just pushing him to the stratosphere, man. Just making him even more iconic. You know what I mean? So, shouts out to Heath Ledger. You know what I mean? And this video is already running too long, so let me go and start cutting this shit short, because I feel like I'm just going and going and going and going and going. So, getting to the scale, I give The Dark Knight 4 thumbs up. I gave it 4 thumbs up because it was a great story. Great story. Directed by Christopher Nolan. Phenomenal direction. Just the realism and the grittiness, and just, if you can go into a movie and it's a comic book movie, and you watch this movie and you forget as a damn comic until the main character shows up, who's a comic book character, that's a testament to your filmmaking. That's a testament to just good overall, just good screenwriting, just good writing, good storytelling, man. It was a good story. It was a great story, man. Great story, great actors. Christian Bale to Heath Ledger to Gary Oldman to Aaron Eckhart, to everybody. Just like I said, man, when people take their shit seriously and they really do the movie and they hone it and they really take it in and really just just want to give it their all, you get greatness come out of it, So like I said, 4 thumbs up. Hans Zimmer did the score again. 4 thumbs up on the score, and just a whole lot of the shots in this movie. The cinematography is awesome. From the shots of a lot of Batman being on the buildings, and this was an awesome movie, man. Batman Begins. The Dark Knight was an awesome movie, man. Awesome movie. So as I said, man, 4 thumbs up, and it's definitely a movie. It's definitely a movie that you can keep watching over and over again. Like I said, you'll get different things. I watched it this time, and I got more out of it now than I did the many other times I watched it. Out of the whole trilogy, this one is my favorite. This is my favorite one. Now I can see why it's my favorite one. But watching it this time, I got so much more out of it this time watching it now. You know what I mean? Just seeing it and looking at it and studying it and just looking at it. And it's just, like I said, it's an enjoyable movie. You know what I mean? So, like, comment, subscribe, show your boy some love. This is Short Man Filmworks. I'm your boy, Mr. Mar Sharp, and this is the Everyday Man's Film Reviews. Like I said, I think this is my longest video. I'm running at 33 minutes now. So so I'm cutting this short. But yeah, this is Short Man Filmworks. I'm Mar Sharp. This is the Everyday Man's Film Reviews, and I will see y'all on the next video, because we got one more movie in this, and this is going to be the trilogy. This is going to be the end of the trilogy, which is going to be The Dark Knight Rises. And I'm going to get to the new Batman eventually. I'm going to get to it. I just got to find the time to get to it, but I'm going to get to it. But y'all have a good night. Y'all take care, and I will see y'all on the next video.